Well, hello, folks. Top Gun here with you, and I got a good one for you. It's going to be quick. I'm going to show you some math. I'm going to show you what's wrong with my math, okay? Yeah, it's still kind of accurate. But, I love to pick things apart. But first, not brought to you by Paul's Burn, but a lot of my numbers recently, as somebody who loves his numbers, I have been getting brought to you by Paul's Burn. I'm not paid to show them or anything. I reached out and said, "Hey, your stuff's awesome." They went, "Your stuff's awesome. Will you do a video on it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't had the time, but for sure I'll throw it in front of one of my math videos because it helps with my math." Now, I still need some numbers and information, but let's go ahead and have a look here. All right, so not pay attention to my settings, but paulschain.com. This is important. Excuse me. Look, Richard Hart Software has a point to for this community site, so it's pretty well trusted. Awesome. We click on that, paulsburn.com. And hey, look, we got a Telegram, so you can send information about possible improvements, and we got a Twitter. Now, I wish in here that these coins could actually include total locked liquidity, because I haven't been able to access that since PulseX has been swapping, and I have to do some math between Dex Screener to hop between all liquidity pools to add stuff up, and I'm like, that's gonna take a minute. I would love to see a total PulseX locked in, and a total Inc locked in liquidity, and a total Hex locked in liquidity, a total Pulse locked in liquidity. But in the meantime, we have a price, we have the amount it moved up, we have the option to go see a chart from Dex Screener for at least one pool, we have a market cap reading, we have a total supply that includes the OA, and a total amount burned. That's pretty sweet. And we are actually about to hit 80 billion burned in less than a month. Wow. In just over 2 weeks, really. Like, wow. That is on fire. That kind of mates with one of my models, and I'm going to have to show you what's kind of close. We'll get there, but this is awesome. And I can even see the gas per blocks, what's going on, what the payments are, so I can see where the bridge is. It'll never be at 100%. Never, ever, ever. Because as close as they get to the amount deposited, more gets deposited. So right now, there it looks like there is about a 2.4 million backlog. That's pretty awesome considering we had 70 million clogged at one point, so it's moving pretty fast. It takes about 10-15 minutes to get across the bridge. You can even see what assets have been bridged over, deposited, and processed. I think that is pretty awesome. So, and we can see in at PulseX LPs. So we do have LP volume locked for these bridged assets, which is why I'm just hoping for some LP information for the other major coins. I'm sure they'll get to it. They do love their suggestions. Right here, total lock value in the PulseX DEX. All right. But that's value locked. So that's all the value that is currently staked or farming for incentive token, I believe. Every LP that's signed over to receive incentive token is over 400 million. Awesome statistic. Absolutely awesome. Validators. Now this is cool, but be careful. Validators, 20,000 online. I wonder if there's actually zero entering anymore. But last time I checked the APR, it was still pretty sweet. But they've got this cool option. You can see a globe. A spinning globe. Mwahaha. Showing you all the validators across the world. But the globe uses a lot of processing power. So my gaming computer from a couple years ago starts to lag just running the globe. That's a little bit frightening. So I accidentally left the globe on and went away from the page. My computer's fine, but when I came back to the page, scrolling down to the globe to disable it because it came back still enabled was a little difficult. Might be good if this just auto loads in the page disabled and people have to enable it each time. Because, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it's something about I have wrong about my system settings. You may not have this issue. You might be laughing at me for having an old laggy computer. But if you're not laughing at me because the same thing's happening to you, just get that globe hidden with the hide globe button. Go away, globe. There we go. And everything speeds right back up if you are running into that issue. One of my other favorites, big time here, is the gas readings. 25 cents per swap, 2 cents for a gas send, and 5 cents for a token send. Oh, wow. And then, hey, you want to know what the APR currently is? Oh, wait, wrong website. Sorry, not Beacon. Launchpad. You want to know what the APR is? Oh, we're still at 23.2% APR. That is a scaling APR, it looks like, because at 8,000, it should have been just below that from the way I was reading the math. So we have some pretty good APR rewards on validators still, it's looking like. And 20,000. Man, there was 4,000 and 96 in the original set. That means 16,000 of those are completely community driven. Over 80% of the total validators are from the community. That's starting to feel pretty decentralized to me as far as validators are concerned. That's not any small set. And yeah, these are some awesome numbers. So all I'm waiting for is total locked volume in PulseX and incentive coin. Well, not even locked, but just total provided liquidity of these coins in the DEX. So that way I can update my math model a little more accurately, because we don't have that information from PulseX, but it takes a while to aggregate all of that information. So I do appreciate that they built the total PulseX LPs for the bridged assets and total locked for the farming. So this is a lot of really quick and easy information where I can constantly check up on the health of how this chain is doing. I absolutely love it. Absolutely. And it's so easy to use, really. So any questions, you can always ask their Telegram. Any updates, you can tell their Telegram. Pretty quick, pretty easy. I'm loving it. So we're going to go ahead and have a look now. Dun, 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 dun. At the not financial advice. All right. And I think we're even going to go old school. This should be camera 1. Oop. Let's see. I'm going to double check that. Yeah. I'm gone. We're going old school here. All right. So some numbers to be important. Really important. Remember how I thought 1 was about the size of the hex pool? I'm like, yeah, that's a good size for liquidity. Well, it turned out to be like 800 times that size. Oh, and the launching price. I thought that might be like a 20x. I didn't really care for the purpose of the math. The number was so low, but 2x was more like it right at first pre-bridge. Then it traded to a 4-to-1 ratio. So it was more like half a x, like the wrong way. And Pulse still held its ratio with Hex, and I was treating the Hex as 2 cents. So yeah, this was about the starting point price of Pulse and PulseX pre-bridge, and then PulseX went to 4 zeros and a 5, essentially, which we didn't have a price on because we were all ratio trading. But once it got a price, then we knew what the damage had been the whole time. Kind of funny how that Schrodinger's cat stuff worked. If only somebody might have mentioned it might work like that. So, with that all sorted out, all right, we got a starting price. I've adjusted. Now, I will switch the adoption rate. Like, we've had some pretty quick adoption, so I'll leave it at that. But 800 times, not 250, like some of the massive testnet liquidities, but even larger. The initial sell-off, that 20% thing, didn't seem to happen. I had to tweak that down to 3% to get something similar to what's happening, and this still isn't including any market buy pressure, folks. This is assuming no one in the world is buying PulseX except Big Buyer Barry with these current numbers. And yes, that looks like a 5x at the end of the year, even with a 3% sell-off of the supply. So let's go have a look in the what-if game for these details and talk about why this math is wrong. So here's the what-if game. Price after 1 month, after 2 months. I'm doing one quick entire buy and one quick entire sell into the market, essentially. That's a whole different ball of wax, guys. So the market right now, last time I looked, had about $1 trillion tokens in the DEX for PulseX, but then the numbers on PulseX went away, and I haven't been able to go at those pools. But okay. Now the dump into the pool is that 3% is basically another 500,000,000,000 tokens. But the buy and burn won't get all of those tokens back out. But the buy and burn, running it all in one giant buy of $16 million after that sell-off drops the price, it scoops out $164 billion. Well, hey, we're already almost at $80 billion, half of that in almost 2 weeks. It didn't happen all at once. It's happening day over day. So in a year, I have 12 pool actions of buy and sell, boom, boom, one right after the other, as if nothing else is happening in the market. But it didn't all buy with that much slippage, right? So I have to break a math model that's designed to run monthly and make it run at least daily to have some amount of closeness. I'm not making it. I have to make a new box for every day. So instead of 12 boxes, I have to have 365 boxes for a year. And for the future years, I better probably take those up to at least weeks instead of just a whole year at once. So those need 52 boxes per year. So this whole math model has to get over 50 times larger to get more accurate to track things. That'll take a bit of time. So I can't make this really accurate. It never was meant to be an accurate tally of what's going on. It's meant to under predict what's going on because the market's always going to buy some. I just wanted to show what the big buyer Barry was capable of. And Big Buyer Barry isn't even getting that bad a deal on the tokens or that much slippage because Big Buyer Barry is doing it at much smaller buys, much more regularly. So I have to do some more detail to not track it as a big woohoo and to do it bit by bit by bit. Okay, so that takes time. I haven't had the time. I love you guys, but unless one of you is going to pay me, say, $2,000 to take a week or two off of work so that I can get this overhauled, you're gonna have to wait for it to get more accurate. But yes, as we were addressing, my model still kind of works, and the current numbers, 800 times its size, a 3% sell-off to drop price in the way that it happened, and then the buy and burn, chug-a-lugging, because the last I saw, we were doing 60% of Uniswap's daily sales. Like, we had some initial rumors or spikes in the first day where it went insane. We beat all Dexes, but then went back to normal. But man, I always had this at 10%, not at 60. I just ran it to 50 and 100 to excite you guys. I thought 10% was reasonable. I also had to remove the scaling because oh yeah, and base users, I got to change that one over 1500000. All right. So base users, I'm using Uniswap's base users. I'm not sure if 900,000 is right for our base starting, but the level of volume we had, the level of transactions would infer that might be the case. These are, again, rough, loose numbers to kind of give us a shape and a show here. And oh yeah, I have more sell-offs at different price points through the market. I'm like, well, yeah, as soon as we get to back to probably 1.5x, we might see another sell. There's like another 100 billion on the market, but it doesn't dent price that much as we go into the next one, really, does it? And oh, look, at a 2x, maybe we have another, what? You guys, 500 billion? Could guys be that greedy to try and take profits? That's 500,000. That's 500 million. That's 500 billion. Well, that would take our 2x away at that point when they saw that and drop us a 50%. And then the buy and burn would start pulling it back up. And hey, look, we still break a 2x. And in this theory, in this market condition, There's what the chart looks like. Oh, it went down. Oh, it went down further. Look, Top Gun, you were wrong. PulseX is going to die. And think of this as bi-weekly every 2 weeks. So that would be 18 weeks in at the 9. Like, ah ha ha, look, we're back below the SAC price yet again. I guess, did I even hurt it properly enough to drop the price down? I got to get some more accurate new numbers, but the price dropped below that. Okay. But yeah, maybe this chart is kind of messed up. Yeah, whatever reason it doesn't display right. Excel hates me when I try to do some of these showing graph things. But this would be the shape of the price points. And yeah, we did an all-time new low still later, 18 weeks in. Oh my God, that'd be 5 months in. Wham, if people just got greedy and fed up. And then we could go into our next bull run into 2025. And hey, look, year 2, we're looking at 20x. And even if we keep jumping 1 trillion tokens a year, well, we're still going to start going up 40x, 133x from that buy pressure. See the ziggle lines from sell-offs and just the big buyer berry running. Yes, it all happens very quickly. I need to round that out on some longer math model size, like by days. But, oh, there we go. But in this math model right here, this simulation, over 1.1 trillion coins burned in the first year, leaving only 16 trillion left. That's pretty cool. And right now, that does feel, I had to simulate some more sell-offs. I'll have to change what months those happen in because the market could buy the price up and slow down the buy and burn. And yes, this model can simulate buys, but no, I don't want to. The point of this math is just to show you what the automated Michael Saylor bot, what K for K coins, Big Buyer Berry, is going to do to the market. Our automated Michael Saylor bot will buy the bottoms and the tops. It'll buy every top gladly. It'll get all liquored up, leveraged up, and buy. No, it doesn't need to leverage. It gets fees and revenue just to keep buying. Here, Michael, just keep buying our auto Saylor bot. Yeah. And that's the point of this model, is to show you, yeah, no matter how many times you have sell-offs from the market, the automated buyer starts pumping the price up. And I'm pretty sure people love to chase green candles. So every time the Saylor bot gets to work, it should probably bring the market in buying as well, maybe, because maybe some people on the planet other than me are going to buy. I mean, I suppose I should at least put my DCA in $200. Oh, that affected the math so much. But I know I bought. Okay, so nobody other than Big Buyer Berry and me buying in the market simulated in my model. Did you buy? Did you help push the price up? Because that's not in here. That's the point of this math. So I'm not going hugely in depth here. But at those kind of numbers where I'm still simulating some sell-offs, yeah, we're still talking about 100x over the course of 5 years. That's without the market buying. And then we love these insane numbers of like 10-year. Well, there's our 7,000x. And instead of a million x's in 20 years, that's just insane. But that 20-year graph does seem to go pretty parabolic there, doesn't it? Yes, it does. That's kind of how the math works on this thing, with inflation and money printing and more crypto buying to run away from the Fed and all of that. Yeah. Yep. And this is my S-curve adoption. I need to switch it so it's in logarithmic. This is part of the reason that I assume, like, oh wow, we get a whole lot more adoption later in. But even on this is so polite that we never break more than 80 million users for the network in 20 years on that math model. Just the users trading through the DEX generating revenue. It's projected revenue I'm trying to track in this, and that revenue used to do buying, which tracks how much gets spent in the liquidity pool year over year. You guys want to see that? That's really where the importantness comes. Where, okay, 21 million after the first year. A total second year. So is that like $400 million of buy pressure throughout the year of exit liquidity being dumped in because of the buy and burn? Is that projected maybe 500 million almost exit liquidity, buy pressure being dumped in worth of revenue? Is that a yearly total of 773 million? Oh, wow. By year 5, could it actually get in to the billions of dollars of buy pressure and liquidity added to that pool for anybody to draw and sell and dump on? Yes, yes, it could look like that over the year. Will those buys happen at the price points my model's showing? No, it's not necessarily being accurate because I need to refine it. But a lot of that loose math is still estimation possible. And if that's what's going on, yeah, it does kind of mean it should maybe have X's. Not financial advice, just a big theory. Only in theory. This is not financial advice. See the cursor? Only in theory. This is not financial advice. Say it with me, folks. Only in theory. This is not financial advice. But this seems to be how the theoretical model works. So as long as people keep trading in the DEX and it doesn't suddenly like have a critical flaw and get hacked and fall apart and all those nasty woo whiner, oh, what if it happens? Yeah, what if there's a solar flare that cooks the whole planet and you're the last person left alive? There's your what if for the day. Right now, these are the what ifs I'm playing. What if everything works flawlessly? Oh, well, then it's going to look a lot closer to Christmas. Yeah, maybe those were really good colors for PulseX. Red and green weren't my favorite. But yeah, I got to overhaul the math model. In the meantime, you guys get some ideas of what you're hoping to look for over the year to be tracking on Pulse Burn here over in this lovely burned spot. Oh, yes. It'll click over to 80 soon, and then 100. Oh, yes, and eventually a trillion. Oh, yes, it'll crank right over the McDonald's serve sign. It'll be great. Anyways, that's my attempt to make a quick video on Pulse Burn and on PulseX burning with my math. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. And when I've got some more time, I'll try to get some more accurate numbers and try and really do a deep dive. Till next time, stay frosty.